It's okay. It's okay. I had to make a tea. Residual cough. Charles.
James.
Welcome back, buddy.
I know. Welcome back to you as well.
Yeah.
Welcome back to you
to society.
I know, right? Stop the planet.
Been a while, like 2-3 weeks, something like that.
This is weekend number 3, man.
Yeah, it is.
Because Friday kicks off the weekend. This is the third weekend we're finally sitting back down.
Yeah.
I had some people asking about what was going on. We hadn't posted in a while.
Actually, I did too. When I went back to work. They're like, yeah, I saw you didn't post anything in a while. I'm like, well, we got the Rona. Hit the compound, the whole compound. Got COVID?
Yeah, hold on a second. I just want to fact check something.
Are you going to fact check my COVID?
No.
Wait, what? All right, we mentioned the compound. I guess it's technically not a compound. There's nothing else I said. I said, hi, Charles. Are you fact checking your name?
Yes, I am.
We're like 30 seconds in.
Don't judge me.
Every day, buddy. Every day.
No, but yeah, I mean, because I've been getting a lot of people, jumping on the bandwagon, like, hey, check out the fucking channel, check out the posts, Oh, what do you guys talk about? Random shit?
That's pretty much it. I just said that one of the teachers in the school at work yesterday, I was talking to her, and she's like, well, what do you guys talk about? I'm like, well, I go a lot lately. The second go-around, it's a lot of politics, because that's like the big thing in the news right now, and policy and things that are going on in the world. And it's not really news reporting. It's just commentary on everything. It's, and just kind of our own spin and take on everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, we'll cover pop culture and bullshit like that and what have you. But, so we had a little extended break here. The whole compound got hit with COVID.
Yeah.
Which each person got hit a little different. Well, me and daughter, we barely got anything.
Yeah.
Didn't even know I had it. But the missus, she got hit pretty hard, pretty much like a flu, where she was just laid up for 3-4 days on the couch, sleeping most of the time.
Yeah.
But I had chills for probably 6 hours on and off. And then, what are you doing?
It's the only way I can get it to squirt in my mouth is if I play with the balls a little bit.
Oh, all right. It's a Mountain Dew bottle. You got to think about the people that aren't watching and just listening.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It is a 1 liter Mountain Dew Code Red.
Yeah.
480 calories for the whole bottle.
Oh, boy.
That's nothing. What are you talking about?
And not for those truckers out there now.
No. Yeah.
Probably what, 3, 4?
Actually, I thought I had a problem.
Well, you do.
So I know I do. I'll admit I do. Because I found out today, one of the other drivers that I work with, he was getting out of his Jeep, and at first I saw him do it the first 2 or 3 times because I was getting on my car, but then when I got over, I'm like, what, are you throwing beers in the bag? He goes, no. He holds up a 1 liter of Diet Mountain Dew. I'm like, ew. He goes, you think that's gross? Turns the bag to me, shows there's like fucking 6 in the bag. I'm like, what's all that for? He goes, get me through the day. I'm like,
the day?
He goes, yeah, it's my usual Friday breakfast, lunch, and dinner while I'm in the truck. I'm like,
his kidney stone's going to be the size of a grapefruit. Good God. That's horrible. I can't even.
Well, lucky for him, he could fit a whole fist up his urethra, so it's okay.
Oh, all right. Yeah, but a grapefruit, a little bigger than a fist.
He's
so it would be like taking a large poop.
Exactly. A little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
A little bit of pain.
You should be okay.
A little bit of bleeding.
It's an interesting conversation for the first time back.
I know, right? We're talking about kidney stones and Mountain Dew. This is awesome.
Oh.
But you'll laugh because, I mean, I normally eat like a little snack in the morning. I usually have like a lunch and a sandwich and a bag of chips for lunch. Come home, eat a normal dinner. Still have probably half a dozen sodas a day. I'm down to 191.
Well, that's probably stress, buddy. Either that or speed.
Cocaine. I'm on the Farley diet.
Oh.
Too soon.
That's sad.
That is too soon.
It's not too soon, but it's just sad.
It is sad. It is.
Man,
Welcome back, everybody.
this is really dark.
I know, right? God, we fucking jumped head first into that.
You know, you got the last one. We ended on a cliffhanger, which I forgot until I was getting rid of some old files that weren't processed.
What was the cliffhanger? I don't even remember.
Flesh-eating venereal disease. Which I went through the original files before I processed them, and I saw that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. What is that about? Like, which I bet you didn't even look into it, because I completely forgot.
We looked it up a little bit in that cast, I thought.
No, because that was the very last thing that we talked about before we signed off.
Oh shit! I could have swore we did. That's why I haven't looked into it. I thought we did.
No, you brought it up.
What is that bound in human flesh looking leather book you have over there?
Oh,
I am curious.
This is
An Necronomicon?
Yeah, that I'm writing though. No, it's a book that I'm actually writing. But I was like, I'm
You're really writing a book?
Yeah.
About what?
Just ideas and things like that to get to my daughter when either I'm gone or really old. But I'm like, I don't want to do just like a normal journal kind of bullshit thing. So I was like, what could I do to just kind of make it stand out right off the bat? And I'm like, cotton fucking paper and leather bound. Like,
you made the leather binding?
But no. But once I was like, let me buy this thing. And it was actually not expensive. I was, let me buy this thing and get it. And once I got it, I'm like, this would be easy to do myself. It's super easy.
It's very rustic looking, which is...
Yeah, it's like super rustic looking.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's cotton paper.
Who picked the cotton? The manufacturing company? Cool.
Yeah. Those TikTok videos or the one guy with a giant chain whip?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, I have a cotton paper now. So...
wow. Here we go. Monetized and demonetized all within the same month.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, for the third time.
Yeah.
No, so it's a lot of... While the whole family was kind of down and out and sick, I didn't really step away from news to take a break, but I just kind of there's big things that you saw all the time or heard on the radio or podcasts and stuff like that. So I didn't do a lot of sit down and listen for hours on end to soak a bunch of stuff in like I usually do. And by the time when I was cleared and ready to go, which I was actually only technically quarantined for 3 days, because by the time they actually got to me, because they're so far behind, by the time they actually got to me, they're like, all right, well, the 26th, you'll be good to go. November 26th. I'm like, all right, Friday. And that was Wednesday when they got a hold of me. So I was out doing yard work. They called me and they're like, well, how you feeling? I'm like, well, I'm out finishing the yard work. So like, oh, so you must be pretty good. I'm like, I really didn't get much of anything. I slept. I got chills, and then I slept it off that night, and the next day I was fine. Like literally. So I by the time I got off of it, I'm like, all right, let me kind of go back and dive into some of the stuff, see what's going on, and minus the Rittenhouse verdict and a couple other things. The parade tragedy there with the car, the Wakasha or the Wakasha there.
With the red SUV or something like that.
And it went through, killed, 6 people and injured 60, 50, 60, something like that. 80, some crazy number.
And then they found it parked in a driveway.
Yeah.
Hidden or something like that. Yeah. They were trying to hide it.
And then the guy that ran everyone down had priors. He was already fucking crazy or some shit like that. So there was that, which it was all over. But aside from that, I really didn't look into much. There was what's the artist there? The Houston thing. And this is going back to 3 weeks.
Travis Scott.
This happened right before what would have been our next show. So this is probably 3.5 weeks ago or so.
Yeah.
So, the Travis Scott thing, and then all the conspiracies, it was a satanic thing, and which I'm watching, and I'm like, wow, what is going? So I dove back into a lot of things, and I'm like, holy hell! Like so much shit. Like having one show a week is almost perfect because it's not overbearing.
Yeah,
and
we can grab 2 or 3 major headlines,
yeah,
soak up as much as we can, and then fucking rag the shit out of it.
Yeah, and enough happens to where you're busy. Or at least I'm busy when I'm just listening to stuff and we're shooting ideas back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, when you're out of it for 3 weeks, you realize, like, holy hell.
Today, because I was like, oh, fuck, I haven't had much of a chance to really look into some of the stuff you had sent me.
Right.
So I'm sitting there in my last couple hours of work, and I'm like, oh, shit, there's a text. This, and that. Oh, there's another text. Holy shit. Then I go to the messenger. I'm like, fuck. Got like 9 fucking topics, 10 topics. Holy shit.
That wasn't. I just over the last couple of days listened to different podcasts and just news and stuff like that. I got probably another list on top of that, but I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get through all this. Like, so I was like, I'm just going to kind of touch base on this, and go through. If we get through them all, we do. If we don't, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the next episode.
Yeah. With the continuation of the flesh-eating venereal disease.
Yes, I do apologize.
Oh, boy. Well, it's been almost a month, so.
Listeners at home or in the car or whatever you're doing when you're listening to us, and viewers at home.
Taking care of your slave children that are making your shoes.
Yeah.
Got to keep them going somehow. So if they hear our doll voices,
good work ethic.
Yeah, that's right. It's like we just got to hurry up so we can shut these guys off.
Little fun fact: I just found out from a former coworker and another commercial driver. Canada. You hear about what they're doing starting 2022?
Maybe.
No more crossing the border unless you're vaccinated. Like, no crossing the border whatsoever.
I did hear that, and I heard that actually today. There was something else that goes along with that, and I don't think it was Canada. I mean, what you're telling me probably was Canada. I can't dispute that because I didn't. You just said that, but there was something else. I think it was Germany. There was a thing in Germany where, well, there's, oh my God,
Germany.
They're written down.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me look through this. Oh, Australia. That's the one that's expanding their digital ID system. We'll get to that. Germany is putting tougher restrictions on the unvaccinated. That one I jotted down. And I want to say it's either Germany or Austria that's doing the same thing. But I might have misheard it as in not letting anyone cross the border into their country unless they're vaccinated. I'm not going to say 100% because, like I said, just kind of keep up on all this from being out for a while.
I miss this side. If I had a preference, I miss this one.
I can switch it.
Thank you.
But I didn't hear. At least I don't think I didn't hear that Canada is going to do that too.
Yep, I found that out today because my buddy was crossing the border, hauling a load, and I was over the phone while he was talking to the border officer, and I was like, "Did he just say what I think he said?" He goes, "Yep." It's starting January 1st.
Oh, January
2022. No more crossing the border. I'm like, what about the people that live in America but work in Canada? Not allowed. What about the people that live in Canada but work in America? Not allowed.
Right. There's going to be no exemption. Yeah.
Either get vaccinated or get a new job. Like, wow. That's a little fucking intense.
Yeah. That's, again, it's like the same idea as the Australia and their extreme goings about everything. Yeah. You see those 2 kids there that got arrested for trying to escape
it's called the concentration camp.
My brain wants to say that, but it's not that. Air quotes. Quarantine camp or isolation camp. There we go.
Isolation center.
Yeah. Yeah, you roll your eyes, and I think anyone who's listening to us probably rolls their eyes too. But I'm trying to be as correct, air quotes, as possible.
Watching us, masturbating to us. They're all rolling their eyes right now.
Yeah.
I'm rolling my eyes in the back of my head.
Cool Undertaker impersonation.
Quick, stick a finger in my ass so I can finish. Wait, what?
What, the news? All right. Yes, those two people that got it, two teenagers.
I did hear something
They
about
tested
that.
negative,
Yeah.
I guess, but they said they weren't allowed to leave, so they escaped and got fucking arrested.
Oh.
But I think the same thing is going to go on over there too in Australia, where they're going to. I can't remember the date, but I think, if I heard correctly, they're going to do the same thing where you have to be everyone. It's a complete mandate. Everyone has to be vaccinated. Interesting.
Which is crazy. It's crazy because, like, yeah, America, Joe Biden didn't start the mandate process. It wasn't an original idea when he started it. Other countries had already implemented mandates and shit like that. But, and
His administration was said that's like, oh, we shouldn't. We
correct me if I'm wrong, though. I did just read something, and like I said, I may be misinformed. Even with the new Omicron variant, Biden's not.
You mean Omicron?
Omicron.
That's what Biden called it. There's no N in it. It's Omicron. Yeah, you're right.
I am Lur of the planet Omicron Persei.
Yeah.
Is this thing on? Yeah, I've seen so many fucking memes with that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that show.
He says Omicron. I'm like, I had to, like,
Yeah.
maybe I heard it wrong. And I had to look it up. I'm like, no, there's no N. It's not Omicron. What the?
But he's not implementing any more mandates in America.
That's because he got so much pushback from it, and rightfully so.
Well, they're talking about
Like, it says that has nothing to do with vaccine. That has everything to do with policy and mandates.
from my field of expertise, my career.
Okay.
They've already
I thought you were talking about just news. Like, oh, yeah, we're fucking experts.
No, the whole trucking industry has made it very clear the majority of truckers are not going to get vaccinated. So
No, because of the majority of truckers, you have to know, are kind of like,
one of the things that was proposed, well, if that's the case, when it comes to like borders and major highways and stuff like that, there needs to be separate separate roadways, separate this, separate receiving.
roadways. You're afraid driving by someone, you go, oh, I don't want to catch your COVID.
No,
What if those tailpipes have COVID? The fuck are you talking about?
I go, wow. I mean, the last time this country had a
Seriously.
separate entities for people, that worked out great. But yeah, and I mean, the best part is, it's been, and I'm sure the viewers at home, the listeners over whatever device they're listening on, they can attest for it that if they know somebody or keep up with the industry, the majority of the trucking industry has said, we will shut down.
That's seriously, and that's the last thing this fucking country
This country
needs.
will fucking screech to a halt.
It's so bottlenecked now. If that, now granted, I think that's an extreme situation. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, first off, right to the beginning, to create an infrastructure that has basically double the amount of roads, or at least main roads we have now, you know the price tag on that we obviously don't have.
But here's the alternative. And I came up with this idea.
Red days and blue days. You guys travel on the blue days, we'll travel on the red days.
No, it's
It's like fucking high school all over again. It's a C day.
It's a C day. A, B, C.
Yeah.
No, so they go, they're not going to do it. I'm like, yeah, they're going to do in return to that, because I just learned they lowered the age limit for getting your CDL. In New York State
Is 18 now,
21.
isn't it?
Yes, it's 18 now. They
Yeah.
lowered it to 18.
I did see that.
There's the fucking problem. But we were alive when they raised it from 18 to 21.
Right.
Okay? The reason they did that, because I looked this up, was because too many young drivers with not even any wheel experience, not
Right.
behind a car, let alone a fucking big
So
rig.
they were getting out of high school.
And accidents, damages, a lot of shit was getting fucked up. So to immature, they raised the age 21. Well, now that they dropped it because the industry is hurting so bad, when you stop and think about it, what's going to happen is it's going to turn into like a union perspective. What happens when a whole company with a union doesn't like the way something happens?
They go, well, unions aren't supposed to strike.
Okay, but you already know where I'm going with
Yeah.
it. So if the whole industry fucking shuts down because so many people aren't going to get vaccinated, hey, you're 18 years old. You want a $25,000 sign-on bonus? Get the vaccine. Here's 25 grand. We'll give you tax-free. They're going to get fucking scabs.
Well, 25 grand is better than a free cheeseburger and a soda or whatever they were fucking pushing before like a year ago with the vaccine.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're going to hire scabs. It's basically, it's a scab. It's a scab.
Which is what they're doing in a lot of these. We talked about it before in different warehouses and different workers coming in, different third-party companies.
Yeah.
So it's just going to, it's just trickling down.
Temp agencies.
Yeah. It's trickling down to just further down the line in this whole system of getting goods from A to B.
Yeah. And so
because
now,
you're like, oh, you got to do this. And
you're going to hire
like,
these people that'll be, yes, I'll do whatever you say. Give me the vaccine. Here's my 25 grand. Thank you. Drive. Kill people. Oops, sorry. At least I got it there.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Ooh, I don't know why I did that. Bite you.
You trying to punk me?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, run people over.
Stab.
What? Do something. Did you see that the Roe versus Wade thing?
No.
That there's 20 or 21, 22 states. I think it's 21 states, somewhere around there, that are
20 plus states, okay.
that are trying to overturn Roe v. Wade, which would make abortion illegal.
So for the folks at home, I don't remember what year it was, but Roe v. Wade was a case that decided that a woman could get an abortion up to the end of the first trimester of pregnancy.
Right.
That has been, oh God, how many years? A few decades at least.
I'm probably way wrong, but the 1956 pops out. Just fact check it if you want. You got your phone right there.
Yeah, I got you.
It more than a few decades. That's an old, well, in comparison to a lot of the other, popular whatever.
Okay, here we go. On January 22nd, 1973.
73, okay.
The Supreme Court issued a 7-2 decision in favor of Norma McCorvey, Jane Roe, holding that women in the United States had a fundamental right to choose whether or not to have abortions without excessive government restrictions, and striking down Texas' abortion ban as unconstitutional. So now you're fucking telling me that they're going to amend that right.
They're going to overturn the
decision.
Yeah.
And take the choice away from a woman.
Yes.
For the folks at home, in case I haven't said this before, I am pro-choice. Do I want to go out and get an abortion? Fuck no. I'm not going to get pregnant either. Look at this girl's figure. I'm not going to lose it. Fuck you. I've lost weight, you prick. But
whatever, tons of fun. Finish your idea.
I am, since I'm only like 20 pounds heavier than you now, you prick. 175? I'm less than 20 pounds.
I don't know.
So, I'm pro-choice. Do I think it's okay for a woman to use it as a form of birth control? I wouldn't say it's not okay. It's not something I would care to know about a person. Am I going to think any less of a person for doing it? No. But that's like if you like to masturbate and do a grapefruit with a thumb up your butt. You do what you do. I don't care. I don't want to know about it. I'm not going to think any less of you if you do it. Tell me you do. But
there's specific details I know behind the whole thing. It's not... It's...
Oh, hold on a second. No, hold on a second. Maybe I have heard of something going on with this, but I don't know if it's the whole Roe v. Wade overturn. What I think it is because there's still going on in America, which is fucked up, late-term abortions are still a thing in America.
The late term, there's some that are post-delivery.
Post-delivery, yep.
Yeah, there's some, granted, it's like extreme situations, like severely deformed or
disfigured, disabled,
or it's like if we can keep them alive on life support or whatever, which there's a whole thing that Alex Jones had on that, which is really bizarre. But there's late term abortion, like right before delivery, and then even post delivery abortion. I think the details behind this overturning Roe v. Wade is it's not just like what you're saying, making abortion at any point illegal. There's certain situations or whatnot that I don't know if it's rape or anything like that.
Rape, incest.
Yeah, I think those are still implemented as like viable reasons.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with that in the least bit. I don't think that they should overturn Roe v. Wade. Like that little article I read said, it is a fundamental right.
The only argument I had to the entire thing was even until the example I'll give you, I really stay away from it. Like I had this discussion with the same teacher I was talking about earlier at school, and she asked me, "It's like, well, are you pro-choice?" I'm like, I stay away from that whole argument. Not really this way or that way, because it's like arguing religion or politics. It's so hard. You can get a yes, but people go right back to no, and it's almost impossible to. It's It's an impossible argument either way. Because you can have viable arguments on either side of the coin, so I just stay away from it. The only thing I can say now is after I had my daughter, and same thing I'll say about your two sons. If your wife went up to you and said, knowing your sons now, prior to one of them being born, I'm getting rid of this child, how would you argue that?
How would I argue it? The same way I would argue it with any woman who might bear a child of mine. I don't want you to, but it's not my choice. I don't have a say in the matter, but I can't stop you. Will I be hurt? Yes. Will I most likely discontinue this relationship? Yes. But I do not have the right to tell you what you can and can't do with your body.
See, I would fight it tooth and nail to have my child and be like, listen, you sign off on it and you have nothing to do with it after.
If that's the case, yes. Good point. I think I was more in the mindset of just instilling the fact that...
that's a textbook argument what you're giving. I'm just giving a humane argument. It's like, listen, if you don't want it, fine. Don't take the child. Sign it completely off. You have nothing to do with it. No responsibility. I'll take it. But just thinking it's like, well, your daughter could have been killed. Like, what?
It's a very hard...
That's what I mean. I stay away from the argument because it's like there's viable reasons. And on the flip side, it's not my body. So how can I just intervene and say one thing or another? So I just stay away from the argument.
Let me amend what I said then, because you did make a good point. I would, for all intent and purposes, try to, hey, look, talk it out. Get her to decide to keep the baby. If she does not want to be a mother, that's why she wants to abort the child, okay, then like you said, I would say, look, if that's the case, I'd like you to have my child. If you don't want to be involved, you can walk away free and clear. I will not hold you by any means necessarily attached to this child.
No money, anything.
But if she's still, no, I just don't want to birth a child, okay, look then, if you do abort this child, just so you know, I will discontinue this relationship. I've known too many people who should not have children. And, with bottom feeders, the fucking people that live off the system. Before the system was amended in New York State.
Where children are their income.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those fucking people need abortions.
Those people need to be sterilized.
But the fact that, they would sit there and bring these children into the world and either A, give them up, or B, give them a life that, up to put it nicely, is very less than desirable.
Right.
Those guys, I'm sorry, need abortions. But,
what do you think is going to happen if that does happen? If they do overturn Roe v. Wade?
All right. So, my opinion right now, I don't think they're going to be able to overturn it. especially with the woke movement, the feminist movement, all the movements going on, even the soon-to-be pedophile movement. Sorry, I did not mean to offend any minor attracted persons who may be listening right now. Fucking
pedos.
Fucking pedos. You know, I genuinely think with the amount of women and the amount of speed that this ball has picked up, steamrolling into the social media limelight, I don't think it'll ever be overturned. But if they do overturn it, much like what's going on with the vaccine right now, people are getting doctors' write-offs to be medically exempt from vaccines. If there is any way, shape, or form, a doctor...
Yeah, because you can't get religiously exempt anymore.
Exactly. So now they're going medical. So sorry, good luck proving that a hospital is wrong or a doctor who's been in the business 30, 40 years can deem a person medically unfit, medically incapable to bear a child, ergo, they get an abortion.
Right.
They now have a written permission slip that if they
But that doesn't make any sense. If you can't bear a child, then there's no need for an abortion.
Okay, hold on. I'm not going to give names. I'm not going to go into details. But unfortunately, I do know a person who has had multiple attempts at having a child.
Right.
And I won't go into the details, but I'm talking worst case scenario. They carry to a certain point. If it doesn't work out, they have to continue and finish the process.
To stillbirth.
Yeah.
But
But so, you mean to tell me this person who was so desperate to have a child and refuses to abort and can't abort because the one incident was way past the first trimester, was forced to stillbirth a child. That's not right.
But that's their choice to do that, right?
So, yes. No, it's not their choice. They have to carry to term. If you look up the medical process, they have to carry to term. Because...
Once they get past that point, right?
Yes. So...
But didn't you just say there's late-term abortions now?
Yeah, so they could go to a state that provides it and get it done. So there's a viable medical reason.
Right.
That a person can't birth a child. Because
right.
The multiple...
I think that was one of the reasons they brought up is still being able to, is if it actually... the birth of the child would either...
Kill the child or kill the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ectopic pregnancies, look at that.
Right.
There are women who have borderline ectopic pregnancies that end up dying during childbirth because of where the egg implanted itself.
Right. Too far up or...
Well, an ectopic pregnancy, for anyone who doesn't know, is a pregnancy that the embryo becomes fertilized and attaches to the fallopian tube.
Right. It doesn't move down far enough down into the uterus.
A borderline ectopic pregnancy is when it happens near the end, right into the uterus.
Right.
So it's growing in the uterus, but it's also expanding into the fallopian tube. Women have died.
Right.
That's a viable... And some people, it happens multiple times too, and it's very unfortunate. I can't express enough how sorry that I am for that person to go through that sort of situation. But like I said, if they do overturn it, I guarantee you, I will put fucking money on it. That's what's going to happen. They are going to roll into the medically exempt card. They're going to play the medical exempt card.
Right. I think a lot of the argument comes from the people that use abortion as a form of birth control.
Oh, yeah. There's fucking tons of people that do it in this world, in this country alone. But, once again...
there's the morning after pill.
Exactly.
Why not?
But... Now,
unless you get that drunk, you don't remember at all.
You know what I'm talking about. I won't give any names, but we know a person who got pregnant while she was on birth control, and he used a condom.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You know who she is. She used to be part of the clique. Real skinny, long brown hair. Had twins. She got pregnant with twins. Used to hang out with AK. You know who AK is?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
all right.
her.
Okay.
Both
47.
both pregnancies. She was on birth control. He used the condom. The first time she got pregnant, she had twins. The second time she got pregnant, she was using birth control. He wore a condom. They had another child, a third child. I mean, if God said, I'm not even a big fan of God. I'm not a whole, sorry. No, fuck that. Fuck you. Leave me alone. The fact of the matter is, nature, from an evolution standpoint, says, get fucking pregnant to her. She doesn't have a choice. If a dick goes near her vagina, whoop.
I breathe too heavy.
Breathes too easily. I mean, even AK couldn't crack that one open, remember? His heart was broken. It was after AM, the one you got the dirty look from. he couldn't, after AM, he went to, RC, and he couldn't even crack that one open. And he was all like, I'm sad, I liked her. Only to get knocked up less than a year later.
Seriously, right?
Oh my God.
Oh,
that's funny.
There's some people that are saying that'll push even further toward. There's a lot of people of the younger generation that are actually afraid of a civil war, and a lot of the younger generation think it'll happen within their lifetime. And I think if we ever went down that road, it's not going to be boots on the ground.
I'm going to be on Captain America.
It's not going to be boots on the ground, civil war, like battling muskets and like fire on the
warriors.
That's exactly what it is now. A lot of people are saying we're already in the beginning of that kind of civil war. But it's just now it's through policies, politics, pushing back and forth, red and blue. Like that's what it is now. Because really, if you scroll TikTok for 15, 20 minutes and you look at all the people that put out things, if you put them in a war situation, it would be a complete mental meltdown. It wouldn't happen.
Halvin would pick up the gun and be like, "So do I? What? How? Can you show me how to load this?"
The prosecutor from fucking Rittenhouse.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that shit? I watched it, and before anyone made any comment on it, I saw what he was doing. I'm like, no. You clearly knew right at that point, anyone who knows anything about firearms, like this guy does not know what the fuck he is talking about right off the bat. And if you know, you know. Anyone who's not a gun enthusiast has no fucking idea what I'm talking about. But as soon as he does that, I'm like, wow.
Wait, what scene? What part of the trial was that?
When he fucking had
the gun in court,
the rifle, yeah,
yes,
and he aims it, not even. Well, he's like, well, they didn't. People are saying he didn't aim it directly at the jury. If you're not even supposed to if you're here, I'm not even supposed to aim it here.
Nope.
That's the first fucking problem. The bigger problem is as he's holding it, his fucking trigger finger is on the trigger, which you are taught.
In the
first thing you are taught when you go for any firearm, any class, the only time you have your finger on the trigger is if you are intended to kill what is in front of you. Otherwise, it stays off the trigger at all times.
Straight like this.
Yes, you're pointing basically.
When you were ready to shoot.
Yeah.
And you don't pull the trigger, you squeeze the trigger.
So as soon as I saw that, that was like,
know how to shoot a gun.
Yeah. Well, according to Ted Nugent, you ball your fist and you squeeze your whole hand, not the trigger, because even when you squeeze the trigger, you're still pulling the gun, whatever side. And then he said this too, which don't get me wrong, I'm new to firearms. I've only been
involved with firearms
about a year or so.
My whole life.
Everyone around me has. I was never anti-gun, but I just didn't fucking hunt. I had like no reason to have one or anything like that.
We gotta get you hunting.
I know. That's a whole nother topic. But
yeah, I'll take
and then the Derek Chauvin, Floyd, whatever, fucking the.
Mayweather?
No, George Floyd.
Those guns he's got.
George Floyd You see the video of him firing off fucking anyway.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The George Floyd riots and shit, and all the stuff that was happening through the U.S., mostly out in Seattle and shit, but the riots and shit, I'm like, maybe I'll get myself a gun. So I went and got mine. At first, I was gifted a rifle, a fucking cannon.
No, it's not. It is a high caliber round.
It's not a
45.
It's not. It's a 45-70. It's a big enough round. It let you know you fired it.
There's nothing. There's nothing in America that it won't put down.
No, they fucking killed elephants with it. People have hunted elephants with it, which impressive.
You're talking.
And then I went and got myself a 357, a Ruger GP100 6-inch barrel 357. So, like I was saying, right from the first class you take getting into any firearms, hunting or anything, you don't fucking do A and B. And then, what I was saying before when I went into that rant, the side rant, then he says, it wasn't his prosecutor. I think it was one of the other prosecutors. They said maybe it was him. I can't remember. He said there's no such thing as a left-handed or right-handed gun. Oh, and I'm like, me? I'm like, yes.
A little side note. Actually, I have I would say above average precision, because I've used guns for a long time. But I don't know if it's because I don't use my left enough, but when I shoot a left-handed firearm, I actually have like near pinpoint precision. I don't know what it is. I always think back to the Pirates patch. You know what the whole Pirates patch started?
No.
Okay. We're going to go a little side run here. So the whole Pirates patch, most of the pirates that wore the patch actually weren't blind in that eye. They would use that patch.
Because that was their dominant eye?
No. If you keep your one eye, so when you go from a light to a dark situation, it takes your eyes a few minutes to adjust.
Right.
What pirates would do, they throw the patch on the eye, and then on nights, switch the eye. Because that eye is seeing nothing but dark, your vision is so much sharper. So much more ready adjusted. So much easier to see.
Is this
legit stuff? Legit shit.
Is it?
Yeah.
If it was just a theory, I was like, that's viable.
I heard about it on Mythbusters, and then they talked about fact checking it, and it's like, oh shit, it's legit.
Right.
So when I looked into it, I'm like, that was a very common practice for pirates, captains of the seaworthy days. Excuse me. They would.
I think he just threw up in his mouth.
They would do that, and I'm like, huh. So I got thinking about it. And because the Mythbusters episode was like 10 years ago, 7 to 10 years ago, maybe.
Somewhere between 3 and 15 years ago.
Yeah, somewhere between there. So I'm like, I wonder. And it got me thinking about the whole left versus right thing. I eat more articulate with my left hand. Mm. I shovel more with my right hand, but I'm a righty.
So you're a fucking caveman. Left side of your brain.
I steer more steadily with my left hand than my right hand. And I can actually, with 3 shots at 500 yards, I only know this because a good friend of mine has been helping me improve on my accuracy because I would like to get into competition shooting. He's like, dude, why don't you get a left-handed gun? I'm like, why? He goes, you grab that gun with the left, because he's got a left and a right. He's like, 3 shots, lit 500 yards, like 2-inch spread. Right. For someone who's never competition shot before, especially a long-range rifle like that, he's like, that's pretty fucking amazing. I'm like, and this is coming from a former career military gentleman.
You talking about?
Yeah. Now, with my right hand, 3 shots, I mean, as long as I'm warmed up, I can get that same spread. But right out the gate, set up the rest, take those 3 shots, I'm talking maybe a 2-inch between each bullet spread, not 3 bullets grouped at a 2-inch diameter. I'm like, I got thinking about it, I'm like, motherfucker. He's like, well, the reason is your left eye, you don't use it. You close it every time.
Right.
Whatever eye is your dominant eye is the one you keep open. So when you adjust that, the light adjusts really quick. Your eye automatically focuses much faster. Like it's trying to adjust super quick. So you have that split second more pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah, I see. I can understand. That's viable. I was
impressed.
It literally is. It's like depending on the day. Sometimes I can group my shots within maybe 6 or 8 inches. Sometimes I group them within a foot and a half. It all depends
that little guy
on the
down
day.
there. Oh, that little guy?
I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
Good enough for me.
Here's one
my man, Thorne.
Here's one thing that I did find interesting, and this is from years before. This is before I got anywhere near guns. I got into compound bows, and Matt came down. The first time I shot bows with him,
Death.
And
first time you shot a bow was with Death.
Yep. The first time I shot bow was with him. We were probably standing about 25, 30 yards. I could group those arrows. We had a can set up on a string, and trying to hit the can. I was trying to hit the center of the can. I ended up in one shot cutting the string off the can. Now I was aiming for, in all fairness, probably the top half of the can, but every arrow I shot was in like that small area.
Well,
with a compound bow.
And
here's the thing. No drawback. No, it was hands. 70-pound drawback. Fingers. And learned real quick to do this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
First time, I was like, oof. I was like, oh, whoa.
Why does it burn like gonorrhea?
Oh, it was good.
What, the gonorrhea?
Huh?
What?
We don't, the bows, the guns, and Rittenhouse.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's no such thing as a left-handed and a right-handed.
Yeah, so I, much like, and the reason why I knew like this shit like this is, anyone who knows me, when I get into something, when I've made up my mind to get into something, I dive into it hard, 110%. So I learn a bunch of shit however I can. It's usually by entertainment, and that's where I came across Demolition Ranch. I'm like, one, it's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just fun. But there's a lot of fucking information he spews off when he's talking about each of the firearms. And then I got into Hickok 45, which is the old time guy. He's huge. He's like 6'7" or some shit. But he's full of knowledge. So that's how I got in. And then, which is great for watching the Rittenhouse prosecution.
How awesome do you think it would be if we can get the prosecutor from that case on the show? I don't know how to use a gun, but you guys are right. I should kill myself.
And I'm going to go...
All we said was hi.
I'm going to go 1980s high school bully right now. But that guy just looked like a fucking douche or a dork right off the bat. Like, you just look at him, you're like, man, if this was 1984, I would just fucking punch him right in the face.
He would be getting fucked in the locker room with a hairbrush.
Like, what's his face from Revenge of the Nerds? Nerd! Like, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. That's just my own personal whatever, but
no, I agree, 100%, man. That guy is a fucking dink.
He looked like a dork. Like, and honestly, I don't think dork isn't a strong insult, but it's just funny to me.
You know what's sad? When you look at all the facts, you take away the defense, you take away the prosecutor, you look at all the facts. I got to agree. I do feel Rittenhouse acted in self-defense.
Like we talked about that before, and I'm like, just watching the video, knowing nothing about it. I saw what everyone was talking about. I'm like, I don't see where everyone. Now, that's not to say, was there some douchebaggy kind of things like Rittenhouse going over? Someone else bought the gun for him and gifted it to him because he wasn't old enough at the time the gun was bought to have it, but he was old enough when he had it, when he was in
to carry it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was some, did he really have to be there? You could make the argument, no. It was his technical hometown because his father lived there, and he was going through and protecting property, also, I guess, de-escalating things between...
Attempting to yeah.
I guess there was, now I haven't seen the video, but there was, I think it was Tim Pool. No, it was on Joe Rogan's podcast with, I don't know if it was Theo Vaughn or whoever it was. They were talking about de-escalating situations between rioters, not protesters, but rioters and people defending their property. And he actually broke it up between them with no confrontation. Yeah. So, and then when you see what actually he was being charged with or why that whole And yeah, there's no denying. He's like, no, this is self-defense. How do you? And then go ahead.
No, really quick. So what I was gonna say was, watching the video, yes, I got to agree. Rittenhouse acted primarily in self-defense,
Right.
But if you actually had a slick fucking, it knows the ins, knows the outs prosecutor, they probably could have nailed him with something. But that guy fumbled it so fucking much.
It was like,
it got to the point where it's like, I want him to be dismissed on that guy's stupidity.
It was like watching pro wrestling where you see a character come out and you're like, wow, this guy's gold. There's no way they can screw this up. Rich and anyone who's a wrestling fan, prime example, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And they let him go. That was watching this fucking trial. Watching the prosecution stumble and bumble, like you say, through the whole thing. There's no way they can lose. There's no way Rittenhouse can lose this.
Yeah,
there's just no way. They're handing him the acquittal. They're like, here.
It's like the guy literally drove a car down the road blindfolded and said, I won't hit anything.
You talking about the other thing, the connection?
No. I was actually going to make a joke about Talladega Nights. I really thought I felt it there. All right, well, we'll bring it out of here because someone's going to be pissed. Oh, okay. What? Take the blindfold off. Oh, my bad. It's that moment. I really thought I felt it.
Yeah, it was something. It was special. After the trial, he insinuated that he was going to file suit against CNN and MSN.
Oh, for defamation of character. Oh, yeah.
For calling him a white supremacist. Yep. And he said, when he sat down, I think it was with Tucker Carlson, he said he supported Black Lives Matter. He goes, there is things we have to restructure. And, he supported their cause.
Yeah.
And watching this was during Biden's campaign for presidency, bringing up, so we have to get rid of white supremacists, and they show a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse during the riots with his AK-47 as he says that. I'm like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
And Carlson asked them, and he said, are you going to do it? And he obviously couldn't say, oh yeah, we're doing it. He just says, I have really good lawyers working on something. So
the president of the United States getting sued while he's in office and losing.
If they go for that, and I really don't think, because they pushed that he was they pushed the whole race card during the whole thing, and there was not a single black person involved in the entire thing. All three people, white people, they got shot,
were fucking convicted felons.
Yeah, that too. That's a whole other thing. The guy that survived, they got shot in the bicep, had a whole list of shit that was dropped 6 days before the trial.
Oh yeah.
And they said you can't use this against them in the trial. Come on, you don't have to be a fucking... This isn't conspiracy theory bullshit. That's just common sense. You look at it, I'm like, isn't that just a tad bit sketchy? Just a little bit.
Oh, God. Oh, I just tagged my own balls.
You're fine.
I thumbed him. Oh, you fucking... God damn it.
He hates himself, ladies and gentlemen. And that's how...
Sorry you guys are seeing me rub my balls right now, but I actually got myself pretty good. Fuck me.
So, yeah, that was that. And then there was the other case that went along with that a lot of people were talking about. Not actually, it wasn't as big profile, but still a high profile, was Ahmaud Arbery. If I'm butchering that name, I apologize. But the black guy that got murdered by the 3 white guys that were claiming to make a citizen's arrest, and they ended up shooting him. The 3 white guys got convicted of murder, which all rightfully so should have happened. They said, we were trying to make a citizen's arrest because we had reason to believe that I think he broke into someone's house or robbed someone or something like that. And it shows this Ahmaud just jogging through the neighborhood, and these fucking mob basically chasing him down and just fucking just torching him. Not fire, not literally, but yeah. And they ended up killing him. All of them were found guilty of murder. And a lot of people are like, well, you don't hear much of that. I'm like, well, you do hear a lot of that, but in all fairness, it wasn't as high profile as the Rittenhouse thing. I don't know why. Because it was a black man that got murdered by 3 white men.
I was going to say, yeah, there's something wrong with that.
But here's the thing is, that wasn't as high profile on a lot of the left-leaning news sites as it should have been. Because everyone...
it's straight cannon fodder.
Well, everyone on both sides, left and right, were so focused on Rittenhouse that this like flew under the radar. And there were a couple of people that were like, what about this? This is exactly what like Black Lives Matter and everyone is talking about. And everyone's focused on the Rittenhouse thing that has nothing to do with any race at all. Just self-defense. Douchebags chasing down this guy with an AK, which... I don't understand that one. If you have a fucking gun, I'm not chasing you down. So explain that one. I don't know. But then there's this other thing. There's clear-cut racism. Like I don't see how you can defend that as not. And the prosecution went through and said, no, you're all guilty. And this is we'll call this conspiracy theorist. It's because the fact these 3 white men were convicted and not acquitted of murdering this black man, and the legal system worked again, like it did in the Rittenhouse thing.
Yep.
They just push it off because like that doesn't fit what we're fucking.
Actually, that's fucked, dude. That is a.
I was like, well, no.
When you lay it out like that,
it makes sense. Is that what happened? I don't know.
Now, how much you want to bet, you're right. You know what? I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say you're 100% right, and it's not a conspiracy, because if those 3 guys had in any way, shape, or form been released that night, or it was going to trial because there was some evidence that this black man might have been guilty, like Floyd.
If they dropped it to involuntary manslaughter,
even
that,
it would have blown up.
It would have been all over CNN.
Kill a black man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But no, all 3 were charged with first degree. I think it was first degree murder.
It would have been 3 white race supremacists, fucking gunned down in pure innocence, severe gun violence, black man.
But no,
family got a wife and 20-something kids, upstanding citizen. Well, no, okay.
Member of the Christian youth group.
George Floyd, his situation. I don't remember all the details, but I remember when that first hit the news, I literally got shown the article, innocent black man killed by use of excessive force by racist cops, police officers.
Right.
That was it. And literally when the whole George Floyd movement, now is it very unfortunate the guy died? Yes. But, and was there use of excessive force? Yes. But
Derek Chauvin had a history of having, specifically with, I guess, George Floyd. He had an issue with him.
Oh, there's a lot of conspiracy stuff that went on.
He was an asshole, I guess. Anyway, and this is from people from the force. And he's kind of, he had problems.
But
so
the point I'm making is, I literally heard this article and the way it was being spun to me. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that cop needs to hang.
Yeah.
And then I learned about a lot more of the details, and I'm like, all right, he was
convictions and
yeah. I'm like, so this Floyd guy wasn't that innocent. Was he really trying to resist? Was he really fighting back? Did he really threaten life?
Yeah, there was a lot of the way the whole trial ended up. Whatever.
Really quick. The decision that he was found guilty, use of excessive
force. That's what I'm trying to get out here.
I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah.
The system worked.
It does. That was okay. But everything, it wasn't like Rittenhouse or this Ahmad, where it was so clear in both cases that the jury came with 110% the right verdict.
Yes.
That one was, yes, it was excessive. Yes, Chauvin was a shithead. And
I'll go on record to say the guy was a piece of shit.
It was
Chauvin.
It was
not Floyd.
Definitely more than reasonable to say that. Yeah, this was a racial fucking thing.
Oh yeah,
but this wasn't like as clear cut as like no, this George Floyd was not this church going perfect
that they portrayed him out to be when it first started. Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't that. That's not, like you said, that's not giving him a pass or anything like that. But there was a lot of things that were kept out of the news. I think this is what we're getting at.
Yeah,
there was a lot of things that was kept out of the news to be like, George Floyd's a saint and we need statues and paintings and murals and everything erected of him, and we need to have this other guy burn. It wasn't like that. And that was what was being portrayed everywhere. And God forbid you brought up and be like, yeah, but this Floyd character is like this. And then you were like, well, you're fucking racist. What are you for the and that's when defund the police and all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
And James goes and gets himself a pistol. But, yeah, so.
It's not a pistol.
There was
It's a wooden carved handle with an 8-inch dildo glued
yeah. No one's going to get near me.
Bang, bang.
Yeah. What's in there? Lotion. Oh, my eyes.
Hand sanitizer. No. My one weakness. For me, it's water.
So, I have some right here.
Fuck you. Keep it to yourself.
This is mine. Yeah, so there's that. Then there's the Wakasha parade tragedy we made mention of before.
Yep.
Which that was really kept not really on the down low, but you didn't see a lot of people. This is either right during the jury's what's the word I'm looking for?
This
is right around the same time as the end of the Rittenhouse thing.
Yes.
This happened.
This this parade event situation that happened, like it was so fast. I didn't even know what the occasion was. This parade was for. That's what I mean. How fast it was in and out of the news. I had to literally fact check. Like, what the? This dude runs over people at a parade. What was the parade even for?
Right.
Was the guy drunk? There was nothing. I looked it up, and it's like, oh, on to the next article. I'm like, holy fuck. Type it in, search, find a few articles about it, and that's it.
Here's a side note. Here is a way to get... Remember, we've mentioned this before on different shows of how... you're trying to find the either factual information in some cases or just the right-wing spin on things, and you got to Google search something, and you got to go and go and go and go. Yep. Here's a way to get around that. And again, I don't know how many times Joe Rogan, he brought up DuckDuckGo. It's another search engine.
Really?
But it's a search engine that has nothing to do with Google, and it's way easier to find. It's kind of like ExpressVPN, where it covers your tracks. Like, so you and your crazy searches and stuff, where you don't have to go in incognito mode. Go to DuckDuckGo.
Well, I don't want to do the crazy searches, so nobody asks questions about the stuff that I really just shouldn't have.
But he says DuckDuckGo, where it's not left leaning or anything like that.
For now, because I'm sorry, I got nothing but love and respect for Joe Rogan. But the guy is a massive social media outlet now. Mm. He has amassed such a social media following that the minute people find out how he goes about...
I'm sure DuckDuckGo's like traffic just went whoop when he made mention. Because it did for me. I'm like, And I got the app on my computer now.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, how long till it becomes an influence?
Whenever they get bought out by Google. Google's like, here's a few $1 billion.
Yeah, it's pocket change to Google.
Right. So, yeah, there's that. But, yeah, I didn't know what the parade was about either. It just happened the same time the Rittenhouse trial was coming to an end. And there's one thing that wasn't talked about a lot. It was a black man that barreled through all this, who had priors, who had, I guess, it was a previous charge just recently before this, where he tried to I think it was like 6 days before this, he tried to run over his girlfriend or some shit like that. Yeah. So he tried to do the same thing again, and then he runs over this like fucking bunch of people. I couldn't get one,
I'm gonna get 60.
Yeah, seriously. But that wasn't made, like, you didn't hear much of anything in that. And then I guess they only posted his bail as $1,000.
Yep. Yes.
What? You kill 6 people or 8? I think it was 6 people.
Was like $1 million.
And they kept Rittenhouse in jail for his original lawyers kept him in jail for 87 days. Yeah. It's like, well, it's good for your own good. You're like, what?
I mean, yes, it did show he was willing to comply and wasn't in any way, shape, or form trying to fight the system. He's like, all right, I'll sit if it does help my case, I'll do what I got to do.
But yeah, so you didn't hear much on that. Again, though, going back to the Ahmed Arbery thing, I think it's because it just didn't fit their narrative. It's like, wait, this black guy went crazy and did all this, and he's like, again, he's a shithead. Like before all this, well, we just there was a tragedy in this thing. So anyway,
yeah. Speaking of did you see the? It was. It's been. I haven't seen the video in a couple days because I think it's been getting pulled down. There was a video of Joe Biden, and it was during a press conference. Now, when you see him signing the executive orders, you don't hear much, but this one looks like it's literally like waist level. It looks like because it's just right over the desk, and it's zoomed in. And you can kind of like see it shift a little closer here. He goes, "Yeah, what's this one about?" I'm not gonna.
I heard the audio on that.
Yes.
When I was at work yesterday, I was listening to. I don't know who was on. It was a podcast, and they played the audio of that, and I'm like, I stopped in my tracks. I'm like.
Yep.
What? Like, I didn't read this one, but I'm just gonna go ahead and sign it.
Yeah. Our own fucking president. I'm not gonna read this. I'm just gonna sign it. Do I get a cookie now?
Seriously, and you know what the fuckery is that there's still people out there, and a good number of people that claim that the administration we're under now is better, and this isn't being a pro-Trump or anything. This is just in general looking at what we have. There's like, we're in good shape now. Like if we were in such good shape, our material that we've come out with in the last few months would not exist.
No. I saw a TikTok. I saw a TikTok video of somebody going around interviewing people, primarily the Biden supporters, and it goes, "Man, what do you think about the current administration?" "Oh, it's doing wonderful." "What about this?" "Well, it's only like that because the president before did this, and we used up all of us, and we have to restock that."
That's a weird thing that they're still blaming the Trump administration.
Oh yeah, this one lady, because
it's
the
really
one I'm referencing was at a gas pump. He goes, "So you don't mind paying this as long as
$3.59 a fucking gallon?"
The lady goes, "Well, as long as it puts the country back in order, like our president is doing, yeah, I'll do what I got to do." Bitch. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic so hard.
Poor microphone.
Poor microphone. I beat it like it's my own meat.
I
make gorilla sounds while I masturbate, just so you're wondering.
All right.
Hi, what the? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up. It really.
It's hard to really say anything.
But no, but back to the Wakasha. What is it?
No, that was pretty much all I had to say about that.
No. But what was that called again? What was the name of it?
Oh, geez,
the Wakashi incident. Wakasha.
Wakasha.
Like I was saying before about that, really quick, because this is something. Like I said, I didn't even know what the parade was about. And here's the best part: I didn't even know male or female, black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, European,
no, because it was, in comparison with everything else, it was a flash in the pan.
It was not even a flash in the pan. It was literally seeing the pilot light kick on and then shutting it right back off on a stove. They were gaslighting.
It's like back in the 90s when you tried to watch porn on those channels you didn't buy. You're like, what was that? I think that was flesh.
Was that a boob? Oh, it was a ball.
Oh no, what's this mean? Yeah, so
I'm on the wrong channel.
Discovery Channel.
Stupid buffalo humping.
Speaking of Biden, you see he suspended travel to South America and 7 other countries, which here's the thing with that. Suspends travel to South America, 7 other countries, and reinstates the stay in Mexico Trump administration thing.
Oh,
where he
God.
keeps the.
I did not know about this.
Yeah, so he reinstated that policy, so keeping Cuban, a Mexican, whatever, from crossing the border into our country amidst this new variant, which we'll get into that a little bit. But so he reinstates that and bans travel to South America. While he was running for president, when Trump banned travel to China,
travel ban, yep.
He said that was one racist, of course, because it's one of the cars they were pulling. And he said that is, I think it was him and or Fauci said that's not going to stop coronavirus from coming over here, banning travel to China or whatever other country. Fast forward a year and a half from when that happened, or 2 years now, just about.
And here we are.
And he's banning travel to South. He can't write this any better. Like, so you're doing exactly what you said is racist and won't work. And the thing is he said it originated from South America or South Africa, which it didn't. They just identified it in South Africa. And there's some people that are saying now it started, or at least before it was in South Africa or Africa in general, it was in Central or Eastern Europe, and Brazil, I think, was another one. So it was already in South America.
Well, here's something funny. Now, if I'm correct, haven't there only been 2 reported cases of the Omicron variant?
No.
There's more?
There's 5 in New York as of today.
Here's the thing now.
There's...
The first 2, right? Where were they? Botswana or something like that, over in Africa?
That I could not tell you.
It was a landlocked state.
Right.
No in, no out.
Right. So like one of those guerrilla runs?
I believe so.
Right. I don't know if it's guerrilla, but one of those kind of scenario things.
How did the variant... Oh, I just decided to mutate into the exact same thing in 2 different places at the same time?
Right.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right there is your fucking pandemic proof. When a variant, a new strain appears in a landlocked location, no in, no out, it should not be able to appear anywhere else.
Yeah, it shouldn't be
should be able to
5,000 miles away from each other.
More than that, probably. But, we got 5 cases in New York. What, did they just come from Africa? Well, yeah. Where? In a place they couldn't
Well, there was, 2 in California a few days ago. And now they said there's 5 in New York. Here's something that brought up. I was listening on Tim Pool. There was a study done on rats. Don't ask me when. Don't ask me all the details. But the premise is there was a study done on rats where they put them in this like container of water and let them swim, and to see how long they would swim before they just give up. And it was a short amount of time before they just gave up and drowned. And then they did it with another one where they put all these rats in this container to swim. And then right before they gave up, they rescued them all, dried them all off, and then sometime later put them back in the water. What they found was with all these rats in the water, they continued to swim for 60 hours. Here's the significance to that and what we're doing right now. The comparison was made that we went through the lockdown for, what was it, like a year, a little over a year, the actual lockdown was. Yeah. And then they released it to go, here, you can have all your freedoms back. Like, freedom's back. So that statement right there is, Yeah. But now they're threatening another lockdown. And what Tim Pool was talking about, he said, I don't think it's going to be soon. But he goes, watch in the next few months, they put everyone on lockdown again, but keep it that way. In the same sense of the rats, the ones that they took them back out, they released them, and then they put them right back into the same situation. And they're willing to, because we'll be saved again. We'll be saved again if we just go a little bit more. I'm like, interesting concept. But sadly, at this point in time, you can't just blow it off and be like, that won't happen. Because look at everything that's going on in the fucking world. Like, well, that could happen.
Yeah.
And you told me, insane, dude. You told me like a week or so ago, you're like, our new governor just said we're on basically a watch or whatever. We're a state of emergency, like a watch, like a fucking snowstorm. Like, I was like, we're on watch, kind of orange alert, just in case. And here it is today, as I found out today, and that we had 5 cases of this new variant in New York State as of this morning. So here we are on the cusp, Granted, elections are coming up, the midterms next year. So,
and here's the best part about this Omicron variant and being in Botswana. They say it mutated because the COVID vaccine came in contact with HIV positive people.
That I didn't hear.
Yes.
Interesting, though.
That's where the mutation came from. So now it's not a matter of vaxxed or unvaxxed, but how much you want to spend, how much you want to bet. You find the cult of vaxxers that say, oh, it's because you weren't vaccinated, it happened. Well, I don't have HIV, and I didn't get COVID. COVID came in contact with someone with HIV, and that's a mutated. Well, that's because you're not vaccinated.
That argument, and
so you're saying if I get vaccinated, all the people in the world will stop getting HIV?
Not every.
Oh, fuck, I'll take the bullet. Let's go.
Not every vaccinated person makes this argument, but there are people out there who say verbatim that
it's because you're not vaccinated.
Yeah, I'm not protected because you're not vaccinated, and trying to get across what they're saying to them, like trying to basically ping pong it back and be like, all right, this is what you're saying though. They, for some reason, maybe they choose not to hear it, but they don't understand.
Thanks. I like to keep it short.
Yeah, seriously. They just don't understand the craziness and what's coming out of their mouth. Okay, let's walk through this real slowly now.
Yeah.
What's the point? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. It's fucking insane.
Hey, we had a good streak of staying off the coronavirus thing for quite a few shows there. Because there was probably 3-4 shows in a row we were on, and they're like, we got to get away from this. But, whatever.
And then someone had to get COVID.
Yeah, well, I'm selfish.
Way to get all the COVID for yourself, asshole. I share it with me.
I'm not going to lie. When I got COVID and barely got anything, it's like pussy virus.
Bitch, I've vet STDs with more strength than you.
Here's an interesting thing. When I went up and when I tested positive and our daughter tested negative, even though we were both positive cases, so let's go up to Cobbleskill.
Yeah.
And we'll give her a PCR test and a rapid test, 2 different. So we went up there, got her test done, and the nurse is talking to me. She's like, well, how is your symptoms? Or first she goes, are you vaccinated? I said, no. She goes, well, how was your symptoms? I go, honestly, I was fine. I go, I was 6 or 8 hours on and off chills. I go, but that happened to me in July, this past July, same thing. And everyone was negative, so I didn't think much of it. I go, the next day I was a little run down, tired, because my body was fighting something, obviously, but it could have been a cold. So I didn't think anything of it. And then I was doing yard work. She's like, oh, well, you lucked out. Now imagine if you weren't vaccinated. And my brain's put on the brakes. I'm like, I told her, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I said, no, I'm not. I go, no, I'm not vaccinated. And immediately when that left my mouth, I'm like, I wish I hadn't have said that, because now she's going to do this preachy kind of thing. And she started to, I go, and I'm like, but everyone handles sicknesses differently. So it is what it is. So well, I diverted the attention away. I'm like, so daughter, how?
Well, so little fun story. I don't know if I told you about myself getting COVID tested. I got a call from the school. My oldest son had been in direct contact with someone who was COVID positive. So I rush home from work, get my kid, go to get him tested.
That was about the same time, wasn't it?
It's a day. It was a week and a day after Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
Friendsgiving was a Sunday. Went through that whole week. After that weekend, the following Monday was when this all happened.
Yeah, because that's when she got her test, and then you called me.
Yeah,
that's right. All right.
So. Oh yeah, so we go out there, my missus, my youngest, my oldest, myself, and we're like, look, let's all just get tested. My wife goes, well, I don't need to be tested because I have the vaccine. Okay, that's fine.
Which is true, but
so she doesn't get tested. She doesn't get tested. My youngest, my oldest, and myself get tested. We're all negative, but before I get to the results, oops, I already told you, spoiler alert. Back to the actual initial test. I got in there. She goes, are you vaccinated? No. Would you like to be vaccinated? No. Well, would you like information?
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah,
this.
would you like information on where to go to get vaccinated?
Yeah.
No. Well, we can recommend good places to go depending on which vaccine you want, but I don't want the vaccine. Well, if you'd like, at any point during this appointment, if you change your mind or you do choose to at least get some information, learn some facts about it, just let us know and we can get you all the information we need to help you make the best decision on where to get the vaccine. Okay, whatever. No, I'm good. I don't want any. So would you like to get the vaccine today? No. Wait a minute. Are we going to start this over again?
Yeah. It's like who's on first.
I think I know the answers this time around. I'll get the test right.
It was really bizarre, like the whole thing. But yeah, so we went through all that. And speaking of COVID vaccine, this was released a few weeks ago. The FDA wants to suspend the Freedom of Information Act, the ability to release the effects from the COVID vaccine for 55 years.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah. Again, this is not conspiracy theory. This is fucking the FDA.
Fucking
isn't that a little fucking odd?
Dick asses.
Like there was a comment made where it's like that's because everyone that would be held responsible will already be fucking dead by the time they release the information on it. So like fuck it. 55 years. 55 years. And another thing, wanting to suspend freedom of information, this has nothing to do with vaccinations or COVID or anything, but there's another thing where Biden wanted to suspend the release of the information on the Kennedy assassination, which at this point, that was 63. Like, why? Yeah. Like, is it that fucking dark and sketchy? Like, there's already shit that's been released. It's in the documents book I have, but is it that sketchy? You got to release, or you got to push it back even. It's 2021.
Yeah. we're at
this is 58 years. Yeah. Like, can we just release it? So that was two different things that they wanted to push back. The FDA thing I just heard about yesterday, the day before. But that was a few weeks ago they released that. I'm like, why? Now,
it hasn't been passed though, right?
I don't think so. I think that FDA wants to do that. Don't quote me, but I don't think so yet.
The FDA,
but just the fact,
FDA wants,
the fact that the FDA wants to put, it's like we don't want this coming out yet. Now maybe that's just in case, or maybe that's just because listen, this fucking shit doesn't really work that well. I mean, they're coming out. Before it was in the beginning for the vaccination, get one shot. And at least one shot, and we should be good. And then it was 2 shots. You need the second shot to go along with it. That was shortly after they said 1 shot. Yeah. And then they said there was a booster, which was like, you maybe need it. And now they're coming out and saying that 3rd shot, the booster, is part of the shot sequence. You need all 3 to be fully vaccinated. Come on, what do you, like, they're just adding, like, every job you've ever had where they just keep changing the rules, you adapt to it, and they change it a little more and you adapt to it. Any fucking blue collar worker knows what the fuck is going on. That's why there's so many people doing a pushback. They're like, no, because the shit doesn't work. The CDC changed their definition of a vaccination where it's no longer something that is inhibits the fucking disease from hitting you. Now it's just something that's mitigates like effects or some shit like that.
I didn't know anything about the CDC.
Yeah, this was like a month or 2 ago. They changed the definition of vaccine because the vaccine, everyone's argument is like it doesn't fucking work the way a vaccine should work because there's breakthrough cases. There's people that are getting it and having horrible. Now, the number, it's not like everyone's fucking getting the shot and then dying, but there's a group of people that are getting the vaccination and have a myocarditis. What?
Sorry. You just totally clicked something. A driver returned.
Runs out of the room like, I guess the show's over.
A driver returned today because he didn't get COVID. He got the first shot vaccine, got the second shot, and ended up getting hospitalized for 3 fucking weeks. And he brought the documentation in, and he was showing everybody at work. He actually got told by our boss, our terminal manager, please stop displaying this information. Because people were considering getting it, and then today was his first day back. He goes, no. The vaccine put me in the hospital for 3 fucking weeks.
Right.
Like on machines.
Like ventilators or some shit.
No.
Like I don't know if it's ventilators. That's the one that's always put out in the news, like, ventilators. But.
I don't know what it was, but like he was like, and my company is like, we got to pay for it.
The two things.
I totally fucking spaced on that.
One is, and that's more, you'd see more of that than you'd think. Like, you don't hear a lot on the news, of course not, depending on whatever facet you're listening to. But just through word of mouth, like, there's a lot of people that know somebody that's heard of that and shit like that. Like, that's 2 or 3 for me that I personally heard. Some, not maybe as extreme as 3 weeks, but I've heard a few days in the hospital and shit like that. The YouTube, this is kind of a parallel side note. YouTube is now making it to where you cannot say that the vaccine is a 100% effective method of stopping or curing COVID. Now they're taking videos down for that, which is pretty much the opposite of what they were doing before. Because people are saying, well, if you get the vaccine, everything will be fine. And obviously, that clearly isn't the case. Yep. So now if you're pushing that, the extreme other narrative, you get taken down or demonetized or whatever the hell.
So, hold on, because you kind of just ran me in a circle here. So what you're saying is YouTube right now is going to video to video, and if you say in the video the COVID vaccine works, they take it down.
No. If you say in the video that the COVID vaccine will stop COVID, like saying it's
we are not saying that.
No, if you say that it's the definitive end all be all, if you get the vaccine, you will not get COVID. If you say that, you run the risk of getting taken down. Which is,
and that's our show, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not saying that.
No, clearly we're not saying that, but
no, I think we've said from day one, the COVID vaccine is.
It doesn't work the way they're saying it's going to work.
Exactly. That's the biggest issue.
Especially now. The more shit that comes out, you can't argue.
Make sure you title this, The COVID Vaccine Doesn't Work as They Say It Should Have.
Yeah, so...
YouTube goes, well, shit, they said it in the title. I guess we can't take it down.
Son of a bitch. Watching you.
We're going to drop dicks on your foreheads while you're doing the podcast from now on. God damn it.
Yeah. Oh. Big phallic symbol. Moving on now, getting off the whole COVID thing, but the FDA thing that fucking
that's
is like,
fucking
what?
Stupid.
You see, actually, before I transition to that, this is kind of a slow transition. Go to Fauci. I sent you the thing.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at the pain experiments.
What the apparently this is again a few weeks ago came out, or maybe a month ago, came out where Fauci, he was funding somebody or funding experiments on primates, extreme or maximum pain experiments, where I don't know what they were doing, whether it was electric shock or whatever the fuck it was, where he was putting these primates through trials of pain to see how much they could handle without giving them anything to like mitigate any pain, no aspirin or any shit like that, to see how much they could handle. That is a clear example, and I've said this a couple times to a couple different people, that right there is a clear example of somebody who got fucking picked on in school, and now they're in a position where they can just sit back. Perfect example is Billy Madison with the fat guy with the hose and the kid. Mister, I don't even know you. Are you okay?
Yeah.
That's Fauci. He's like, yeah, you fuckers, watch this. And he's just watching fucking monkeys and shit get poked and prodded and electrocuted and burnt and everything up, broken bones or whatever fuck. I don't know what they're doing other than putting a lot of pain on the... Where's PETA and all this shit for them?
Whatever happened to animal rights activists?
Oh, they're part of the left, though. Let's part of the left. Like, oh, Big Pharma. We're all for Big Pharma. Brought to you by Pfizer. Somebody put out a video of all the shit from ABC and NBC.
I seen that.
I saw
Brought to you by Pfizer.
And just is a guy standing in front of the screen, just like looking back and forth, and it's just a laundry list of this episode or this section or this interview on ABC brought to you by Pfizer, and this thing brought to you by Pfizer, and the following content or following information brought to you by Pfizer, and they're all left-leaning news facets. Oh, yeah. Is anybody fucking home? Come on.
That's fucked up.
You don't have to be a right-wing extremist, or even like me, who's like really independent, who leans right. you don't have to be an extremist or anything to realize, like, man,
I'm not even fucking hardcore.
Maybe there's something. This goes right back to the early and mid 2000s with the Bush administration when they had their fucking butthole buddies with big oil.
Oh yeah,
with Dick
family.
Cheney and
Bush and Cheney.
I mean, it's the same thing, except instead of oil, it's big pharma. It's the same, but at least you had to do a little bit of digging back then. Well, this is done blatantly in front of you, and they're like promoting it on their TV shows. It's right there.
Speaking of big oil, I think it was California. They passed the law, no more gas cars. Right?
Really?
Yeah. I'm almost positive they passed it. There's no more gas-powered motors.
To be manufactured there? Or
no,
you can't have
because
that's two different.
So the state. I'm pretty sure it's California. The whole setup is they help you trade in whatever, etc. So you get an electric car. Boom.
Right. That's mine.
Oh, okay. I'm like, do I have a fucking tumor? I think it's the devil. It's for you. No, but the whole electric. Let's go conspiracy theory here a little bit. Remember when electric motors were first becoming like a thing?
Right.
Everyone's like, oh, they're never going to, this is a great way to go. And then they never really went anywhere. If you owned a Prius, you were a snob because, you're going green.
Right.
And the biggest conspiracy theory was like, oh, they'll never see electric motors. They'll never see the light of day. We've had the capability for electric motors for years now. But because big oil won't let it go, they bury it. What the fuck's going to happen if, you got California, one of the biggest fucking states in the country. Like millions of people. Like New York has 11 million plus in the city alone.
Right.
If New York State went electric, the oil companies are gonna hurt.
Mm-hmm. You can't make that argument anymore, though. That they're keeping big oil's keeping us down and this and that because Tesla.
But what do you think's gonna happen? Tesla's got a phone, by the way.
I think I heard that somewhere.
It's as good as Android or iOS. But one thing that piques my interest, and I've actually considered getting it, is the back has a solar charger. Surprise, surprise. Mm-hmm. Tesla has a solar charger installed in their device. That's fucking great. On a positive news note, that's a fucking good advancement in technology.
Right. I know.
Now it's, oh shit, my phone's gonna die. I don't have a charger. On the dash of your car.
Yeah.
How many people, oh fuck, I left my phone on the dash of my car. It's hot. It's fried. Now it's going to be, I better put that on my dash, get it charged up.
There's the big argument with solar cars or electric cars is you don't have the emissions from oil or petroleum or anything, but you have, the carbon footprint that you put on the world, and the lithium batteries, the garbage that's left behind, because once they go through the life cycle, you can't recycle them. It's garbage.
Yeah. Launch it into space, so they didn't Futurama.
Yeah, why not? In the sun.
Garbage. Burning garbage.
The argument that I've heard, and I 100% agree with, is one with the garbage, as completely 100% viable. It's like, yeah, you instead of having emissions, now you have a bunch of shit. What are you going to do with it?
Well, why don't we launch all of our problems into space?
That's what I'm saying. But the other thing is, carbon. Well, everything in this planet is carbon-based. Oh. And proven, now deforestation is real. Like, obviously, that's a problem. But the Earth has never been as green as it is right now, because of carbon. Like, we're knocking trees down, but the undergrowth is immense all over the world because of carbon. So the argument is it's like, oh, global warming. Like, global warming, a lot of scientists say this too. Global warming's not a fucking problem, because if the temperature of everything goes up a few degrees, we again have more carbon. We have more green. But if we go down a few degrees, that's a huge fucking problem because then you're taking crops and shit away, and like that'll create a big problem.
Oh, you mean like they didn't take enough when the government was paying farmers to destroy their crops?
Yeah.
We'll get on to that one in another fucking episode.
No, seriously. So the last thing I'm going to cover here is Chris Cuomo being suspended indefinitely by CNN because he used CNN resources to try to dig up dirt on the people that were accusing his brother, our former governor, Andrew Cuomo, of sexual harassment. So
I did hear about that because I have a family member who was a big Cuomo supporter. And he goes to me, "Did you hear about this crazy shit?" I'm like, "About what?" He goes, "About Chris Cuomo, Andrew's brother." I'm like, "No." So he starts spilling. I'm like, "Well, hold on. I won't say his name." I'm like, "So-and-so, let me, I'm going to put you on speakerphone and do some fact checking while we're talking about this because I know nothing about it."
Fact checker Charlie, working his magic even off the camera.
Look up this article. It'll tell you everything you need to know. I look at it, totally left. Or totally...
No, you're right.
Totally left. And I'm like, well, this, like, you know, I mean, he was... it's proven fact that he was awfully grabby.
Right.
This is like trying to portray it like he wasn't. Well, I mean, you know, if you sit there and put your hand on a girl's elbow and she has you arrested for sexual assault, you know, of course you're going to have a sexual assault charge because she said you sexually assaulted her.
Yeah, but a lot of those wasn't just putting his hand on an elbow.
No. But the reason I use that as an example is because he goes, of course it's going to look bad, and you mean to tell me you wouldn't want somebody digging up to find out the truth that it was just some girl who you touched you rubbed her elbow or you helped her up and you grabbed under her armpit or forearm and picked her up, especially in our line of volunteerism. You know, if some woman didn't have you arrested for sexual assault when you were trying to help her up with what you were taking care of, and I'm like, well, no, you don't understand so-and-so. Like, the Good Samaritan Act protects me.
Right.
You know, now if I straight up during an emergency grab tit, like, oh, I'm trying to save you, but my foot's broken. It's okay. This will make you feel better.
No, I got you.
Yeah. Then,
right.
The Good Samaritan law is not going to cover that.
Right.
But if I have to dress a wound on a private area, the Good Samaritan law does protect that because there's witnesses that can verify that I'm the duty to act. I am adhering to that oath that we took.
Right.
The duty to act, and I'm implementing my training in a manner that is acceptable.
Right.
Now, if she wants to sit there and say, "Oh, Charlie has sexually assaulted me," well, you really can't say that because he was dressing a laceration to your left breast, and he was wearing gloves. He had other paramedics and EMTs around that all agreed with his treatment, triage, and first aid care. Oh, okay, well, problem solved. And he's so-and-so was like, "Well, no, you're totally misunderstanding the point." Well, I just found this one, so-and-so. And I read it off. He goes, "Well, there's your problem. You got people trying to spin it like he was like practically raping these women on the spot." And I'm like...
But that's arguing the Andrew Cuomo thing. The thing is, like, the Chris Cuomo thing has nothing to do... Chris Cuomo is using CNN resources to dig up dirt on not trying to
vindicate his brother or clear him.
Yeah, he's trying to
slander
attack
those,
or I don't want to say slander, but I guess for lack of a better term, the whatever parties that were going after his brother Andrew Cuomo. And I think the reason why CNN had to do this because they had no other way to spin it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, we kind of put in a spot. We have to. It was brought up that I read this. I think I read it somewhere. I can't remember. Where there's some people that think the powers that be, like higher administrations or government or whatever, somewhere, wanted the Cuomos out of the picture, so they just picked them off because. The fact that Andrew Cuomo got picked out of office through these sexual allegations and not for the fact of all these nursing home deaths and shit at the beginning of the COVID thing, when he was locking them in there basically just to die when COVID was going around. It's like, well, you stay there.
Yep.
Like, they didn't pick him out for that, but they got him for that.
Gotta make sure that was a sponsor.
So,
yeah. I don't know. But the reason I brought up that argument with so and so was because I'm like, you do realize he was found guilty, but he was so adamant that it was a slander attempt on the Cuomo family that, you know, he's like, well, I'll defend him, and I'm like, you really can't. But well, I mean, no, there's no buts, ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, the guy used resources illegally to try to attack people in regards that were involved with his brother's situation.
That's a whole other thing, like illegal, the whole Project Veritas and shit like
Yep.
that. There's fucking so much shit to cover. Like the yeah, but
We will get
there's
it
no
all for you guys.
yeah,
We will get it all, I promise.
there's no other fucking there's I don't think there's any way to defend Chris Cuomo or that whole thing, the Andrew Cuomo thing.
No, there's really not.
No, but for another episode, I guess.
No.
You know, I was gonna make a point of something. I just left my mind. Whatever it is. Whatever. Oh. I don't know, next time you'll hit the thing with the venereal disease. It's eating
Yes.
flesh. We're gonna end this fucking 2 shows in a row with venereal flesh eating.
But you know what,
disease.
though?
What?
Maybe that's good. Maybe that's a good thing that we start ending with some cliffhangers.
But it's the same cliffhanger. That's cheap. That's like regurgitating Hollywood. Whatever.
Yeah, fuck it. See you guys.